Tonight we're taking a closer look at what could be Tesla's most important refresh in years, the Model Y Juniper. The Model Y has been the company's global volume leader, and in many markets, one of the best-selling vehicles of any kind. But it's also reaching the point in its life cycle where competitors are catching up fast, offering quieter cabins, smoother rides, more premium interiors, and in some cases, aggressive pricing. So when reports surfaced that Tesla is preparing a substantial design and engineering update, internally nicknamed Juniper, it immediately raised two questions. What's changing on the outside, and what's happening underneath that Tesla isn't showing yet? First, a quick bit of context. Tesla's recent playbook is clear. Rather than doing small annual tweaks, it tends to bundle many upgrades into a major refresh. We saw that approach with the Model 3 update, widely associated with the Highland program, which introduced a cleaner exterior, revised lighting, meaningful cabin changes, and a series of under-the-skin improvements aimed at efficiency and refinement. Many watchers expect Juniper to apply that same philosophy to the Model Y, keeping the vehicle instantly recognizable, but modernizing the details and improving the day-to-day experience. So what are the huge changes in design people are talking about? A lot of it centers on what has been hinted at by sightings of camouflaged vehicles, supplier chatter reported by industry watchers, and the logic of Tesla's manufacturing strategy. None of this is confirmed until Tesla makes it official, but the picture that's forming is surprisingly consistent. Let's start with the exterior, because that's where the headline-grabbing changes are easiest to spot. The current Model Y's front end is functional and familiar, but it's also one of the most polarizing parts of the design, especially as newer EVs adopt sharper lighting signatures and more sculpted front fascias. The strongest expectation is that Juniper will bring a redesigned nose, slimmer headlamp shapes, a revised bumper, and subtle aerodynamic reshaping that makes the vehicle look lower and wider without dramatically changing its overall proportions. If Tesla follows the Model 3's refresh approach, the headlights may become narrower and more angular, with internal LED elements that provide a more distinctive signature at night. The front bumper could be reworked to manage airflow more cleanly around the wheels, which matters because the wheel arches and tire area are major sources of aerodynamic drag and road noise. Even small changes here can translate into real-world gains. A bit more highway range, slightly better stability in crosswinds, and reduced wind turbulence that contributes to cabin noise. Around the back, many expect the most visually obvious change: lighting. The refreshed Model 3 moved toward a cleaner, more premium look with updated lamp shapes, and there's been heavy speculation that Model Y Juniper could adopt a more modern rear lighting graphic as well, possibly even incorporating a broader light bar-style element that visually widens the vehicle at night. That's not just about styling. Lighting modules are also an area where manufacturers can improve efficiency, reduce part complexity, and integrate better sensors or camera placements. And then there are the wheels and tires, often overlooked but critical to both efficiency and ride quality. New wheel designs can reduce turbulence, and Tesla has increasingly leaned on aero-optimized wheels to squeeze more miles out of each kilowatt-hour. Juniper is widely expected to arrive with new wheel options and possibly revised tire selections to balance quietness, grip, and range. That may sound minor, but tire compound and sidewall tuning are among the fastest ways to change how a car feels without altering the underlying platform. Now the big question: if the exterior gets cleaner and more modern, what's happening inside? This is where many owners and would-be buyers have the strongest opinions, because the Model Y's cabin, while spacious and minimalist, can feel Spartan compared to newer rivals, especially on materials, sound isolation, and ride comfort. If Juniper mirrors the updated Model 3, expect a cabin refresh that focuses on perceived quality and everyday comfort rather than radically changing the layout. That could mean upgraded trim materials, revised door panels, and more refined textures on touch points. Ambient lighting is high on the list, because Tesla has shown it can add a premium feel with relatively low complexity. A simple light strip integrated into the dash and doors can transform the cabin at night. Seating is another likely area for improvement. Reports and expectations often include better bolstering, potentially improved seat foam for long-distance comfort, and if Tesla chooses to bring over one of the most requested features, ventilated front seats. Ventilated seats are increasingly common in this segment, and they matter not just for comfort but for the perception that a vehicle is truly upmarket. The rear passengers may see changes too. In the updated Model 3, Tesla introduced a rear screen to control climate and entertainment functions. Many expect a similar rear passenger display to come to the Model Y refresh, particularly because the Model Y is often bought as a family car. A rear screen is one of those features that's easy to market and has a high wow factor for passengers, even if it's not strictly necessary. Then there's the center console and storage. Tesla has quietly iterated the Model Y interior over time, but Juniper could consolidate those tweaks into a more coherent, polished setup. Better sliding covers, improved cup holders, updated wireless charging pads, and potentially additional USB-C ports in more convenient locations. One of the most debated, hidden changes inside the cabin is controls. Specifically, whether Tesla will keep or remove traditional stalks for turn signals and gear selection. The refreshed Model 3 moved further towards steering wheel buttons and on-screen controls. Some drivers love the clean look. Others strongly prefer the familiarity and tactile certainty of stalks, especially in roundabouts and quick maneuvers. What Tesla chooses for Juniper could be one of the most controversial parts of the update, because it affects every single drive, not just how the car looks on a showroom floor. As of now, it remains an open question, an example of something that's truly hidden until production vehicles are seen without camouflage and without carefully framed press photos. But the real story of Juniper may not be what you can see at all. Tesla's biggest refresh gains historically come from changes you feel rather than changes you photograph. Noise, vibration, harshness, often abbreviated as NVH, plus suspension tuning, steering calibration, and overall refinement. The current Model Y can ride firmly, and road noise can be more noticeable than in some competitors, especially on rough pavement. A Juniper update could include revised suspension components, different dampers, bushings, and spring rates to smooth out impacts without sacrificing Tesla's responsive handling. Better isolation materials, additional acoustic treatment in the doors and floor, and expanded use of acoustic glass could meaningfully lower cabin noise at highway speeds. This is an area where Tesla has room to improve, and it's also an area where incremental material costs can yield big perception gains. Now let's get into efficiency and range, because that's where Tesla tends to make quiet, continuous progress. Even if Juniper's battery capacity stays similar on paper, real-world range can improve through aerodynamics, drivetrain efficiency, updated wheel and tire packages, and better thermal management. Thermal management is especially important. Tesla's heat pump system has already evolved across model years, and a refresh is a natural time to introduce refinements. Better control software, improved valves, revised refrigerant routing, and enhanced cabin preconditioning logic. The result can be more consistent range in winter, faster cabin warm-up, and better efficiency in stop-and-go conditions. Then there's the battery itself. Tesla sells Model Y variants with different cell chemistries and pack configurations depending on region and trim, often a mix of nickel-based chemistries for higher range and performance, and lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, for cost-effective variants in some markets. A Juniper refresh could coincide with updated cell suppliers, revised pack structures, or manufacturing improvements that reduce cost per vehicle. For buyers, what matters is whether Tesla uses those savings to lower prices, add features at the same price, or protect margins while keeping incentives flexible. And this is where what's hidden becomes especially important: manufacturing changes. Tesla is famous for redesigning vehicles in ways that reduce part count and simplify assembly. That can show up as larger castings, fewer brackets, fewer wiring variations, and changes in how the body in white is constructed. These are not glamorous upgrades, but they can dramatically affect production speed, consistency, and cost. If Tesla brings more advanced manufacturing techniques into Juniper, whether that, expanded use of large castings or other assembly simplifications, It could help the company scale production faster across multiple factories. That matters because the Model Y is produced in several locations for different markets, and aligning a refresh across factories is a major logistical challenge. When a refresh rolls out, it typically doesn't appear everywhere overnight. It's often phased in. One factory starts first, then others follow once tooling, parts supply, and quality targets are ready. Now let's talk about technology, because Tesla rarely updates a vehicle without also updating its electronic stack. Even if the screen looks similar, the computer behind it can change, and the sensor suite can evolve. Many buyers will be watching for signs of newer camera hardware, improved image processing, and the latest driver assistance computer. Tesla's approach to autonomy has been camera-centric, and while the company's strategy has shifted over time, a refresh provides an opportunity to integrate newer cameras with better low-light performance and reduced glare artifacts. If Juniper includes updated hardware, that could affect everything from dashcam quality to automatic emergency braking behavior to lane-keeping confidence in tricky lighting. It might also influence insurance repair costs, because new sensor locations and new parts designs can change how easy or expensive it is to repair minor damage. That's an under-discussed part of hidden design changes. Sometimes the biggest impact isn't the feature itself, but how it changes the cost of ownership. Charging is another angle. Tesla's supercharger experience is still a major advantage in many regions, and the company has been improving charging curves and battery preconditioning with software. With Juniper, the charging story could improve through better thermal control and pack design that maintains higher charging power for longer. Even without changing peak charging numbers, a better curve can reduce total time on a road trip. So why does all of this matter right now? Because the Model Y is no longer competing only with early EVs. It's up against a wave of newer designs from both legacy automakers and EV specialists. Many of those vehicles are trying to win buyers with quieter cabins, premium finishes, and feature-rich interiors. Tesla's counter has historically been a combination of efficiency, software capability, performance, and charging convenience. Juniper appears aimed at strengthening the areas where rivals have gained ground, without losing what made the Model Y popular: space, practicality, and Tesla's tech ecosystem. There's also the business side. Price adjustments, incentives, and changing interest rates have made buyers more price-sensitive. A refresh can reignite demand, but it can also create a wait-and-see effect where some buyers pause purchases until the new version is available. Tesla will be balancing that carefully. If Juniper is close, you may see end-of-cycle deals on current inventory. If it's farther out, Tesla may continue making small running changes while keeping the big redesign under wraps. Now let's address the what's hidden part directly. Beyond the visible styling and interior updates, the most meaningful hidden changes typically fall into four categories. First, structural and safety engineering. A refreshed front end isn't only about looks. It can reflect changes to crash structures, pedestrian impact requirements, and repairability. Automakers often subtly rework underlying beams, crush zones, and mounting points to improve safety ratings and reduce collision repair complexity. These changes rarely get flashy marketing, but they matter. Second, NVH and refinement. Extra insulation, new seals, different glass, improved motor mounts, and revised underbody panels are all invisible upgrades that can make a car feel more expensive and less tiring on long drives. Third, cost and production efficiency. Tesla may use Juniper to reduce the number of parts and simplify assembly. That can translate into improved build consistency and potentially more stable pricing. And fourth, the software and electronics layer. A new wiring architecture, updated processors, and revised sensors may not be obvious from a photo, but they can shape the ownership experience for years, affecting responsiveness, feature rollout potential, and long-term support. So when should buyers expect clarity? Official confirmation typically comes late in the process. The earliest strong signals often appear through regulatory filings, VIN decoders, or unmistakable production vehicles seen without heavy camouflage. Another sign is when Tesla updates configurators with new images, new wheel designs, or revised option lists. Until then, much of what's circulating will remain a mix of educated inference and incomplete information. Here, what you can watch for in the near term if you're trying to separate real changes from speculation. Look for consistent sightings of vehicles with the same camouflage patterns and the same lighting shapes that suggests the design is stabilizing. Pay attention to interior photos. A new dash layout, ambient lighting, or different steering controls are hard to hide once the right angle gets out. And keep an eye on range and efficiency figures when they appear in official documents, because that's where many of the practical benefits show up first. If Juniper delivers on the expected combination, sharper styling, a more refined interior, quieter ride, and incremental range and efficiency gains, it could help Tesla extend the Model Y's dominance for another cycle. But the most important story may be the one you don't see in a thumbnail. How many small, hidden engineering decisions Tesla has made to improve comfort, reduce cost, and keep the Model Y competitive in a market that's no longer giving any brand a free pass. We'll continue tracking the most credible signals as they emerge, and when Tesla makes it official, we'll be ready to break down what changed, what stayed the same, and what those hidden upgrades mean for real owners, on the road, at the charger, and in the long run.